Welcome to A Bit of Board Games, a casual podcast documenting the many failures and hopefully successes of Waffle Games, as we learn the ins and outs of board game design and self-publishing. Join us on this journey as we talk about a bit of life, a bit of design, and a bit of board games. Welcome back to another episode of A Bit of Board Games. This is episode 59, take 2. And today is June 8th, 2023. I'm Steven, game designer and artist. And with us here today is Ralph, who's also an artist and a director of art and a designer of the games someday, probably, if we just get him to play a board game sometime. So this is take 2, because I'm really frustrated. Trevor was back. You know, you probably won't believe me because he's not here. But this is like a makeup episode, like we're redoing it. But Trevor was present, and all three of us recorded a podcast a couple days ago. And it was great. Probably the best podcast ever not recorded.
Hands down, the best one.
Yeah. And you can't challenge us on that because you'll never be able to listen to it. Because there was an update in OBS that I record through, and apparently it just like unlinked all my audio sources, and so there's just like a 40-minute video of us talking without any audio. So that's great. We might just dub over it sometime and just make something up. That'd be hilarious. But also a lot of work that I don't want to do. So anyway, here we are again, and confirmed we have audio for this one. I'm looking at the levels right now, and it is recording, so we're good this time. The hard thing with that is that like the topics, the things we were discussing, it's kind of like I'm like, hey, like here, let's talk about this thing. Then we go into this natural conversation about it. But now it's almost like we have to redo it, sort of. So it won't be the same. It'll take a different direction. It's also different because Trevor's not here. And also, like, it wouldn't be as natural if we're just like, so what do you think about this? Oh, interesting. I've never seen this before. That's so cool.
I'd feel really self-conscious re-going over certain things because Steven would totally know that I was doing that. And I can't act for crap. So it wouldn't work. But yeah, the thing about the 3 people being on there, we'll get all 3 of us on here eventually, and we'll actually record. But it was nice because, I felt like things flowed.
Yeah.
Really, we were able to bounce off each other because there's more people just saying more things.
It was a lot of fun.
The conversation evolves pretty fluidly, and so that was nice. It's a good dynamic.
Yeah.
That you're missing out on right now.
Oh man, you could have been listening to that, but I messed it up, so now you can't. But he should be back hopefully next week on the podcast. Again, /first time back, because but he's doing good. He's still alive, I promise. I'm just gonna keep stalling until they find out that something happened to Trevor, something terrible, and I'm just gonna be like, oh, I promise he's coming back next time, guys, for sure. And then like, actually, I'm just gonna start saying that you're Trevor, and then, because there's no video of him from before, so
Oh, that's true.
we should have just like been like, hey, we're actually new hosts now, because they don't know our faces. Anyway, enough of that. That was the first thing we talked about last time, was Trevor being back. So there's already one thing that we're not gonna talk about because he's not here. But we did make a little bit of progress on some game stuff this time, guys. I was gone last week for work. I was on a work trip, and I stay with my in-laws outside of Chicago, and then I take the train into the city, and it's fun. Really exhausting couple of days, but it's pretty fun. And those train rides apparently are my best time to work on art. So it's great. I like just sitting there sketching while listening to an audiobook or podcast or music or whatever I'm in the mood for then. But I got in the new art style, which we're feeling good about. Got almost 3 items finished. Uh, Now like the third time I've drawn these things. So you know we have almost 3 finished items for the game, so it's great. Um, but yeah, so we definitely like kind of stalled a little bit over the last month, but like we mentioned before, that's life. So um, yeah, got the new style, feeling good. Got some items, got some momentum, so we'll pick back up. And then Trevor is going to work on some of the rulebooks pages as well, which we have a working document for, which like actually made some good progress on there, so that's coming along. Current plan is Trevor's still pretty busy with a lot of stuff, so he won't be as hands on in the immediate future. But my goal is still to be able to get something to be able to playtest this month in June, and then hopefully next month attend this game designer meetup at our local game store that they do once a month. And so for that, we're gonna want like a rule book. It probably won't be like a blind play test where we just like hand it off to people yet, just because I don't think it's quite there. And I want to do some more play tests and some other things to refine that and like refine any confusion that people might have, so that we can kind of try to nip those issues in the bud before they come out, before people are like, wait, what does this mean? Or like whatever. So anyway, that's the status update on the game. Ralph, how are you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, it's going to be interesting because I don't remember. I'm going to say stuff and I'll be like, am I remembering that we said this on a different podcast
Right.
episode or last recording?
Oh man.
But I don't remember. But what I do remember, I think the only update I had was that there was an issue with my lawnmower.
Oh yeah.
And we were all talking about like what different random house stuff that we needed to do, just the mundane aspect of life.
We had our whole home improvement segment of our podcast.
Yeah, that's right.
Everyone missed out.
And I forget what Trevor said he did.
He built a playhouse. So they got like a wooden playhouse set, and he assembled that and built it for his daughter.
Yeah, that's right. And then that reminded me, I was like, okay, well, I started mowing the other day, and then my mower started sounding really bad.
Yeah.
And I checked, and it was guzzling gas, and I was like, there's a problem here. I don't know why though, because I just changed the oil and I topped it off with gas and everything. And turns out it was just the filter. I've never changed the filter on a mower before, and I didn't even know that was really a thing. But
I don't know that I have.
Yeah, if your mower is just like running really badly and you're not sure why, check the filter, see if it's like super dirty, because that it works like green now. So that was interesting.
I actually mowed my lawn today. So I say lawn. Here's the thing. Colorado, it's very dry. There's a decent amount of people with grass, but like they have sprinkler systems, like irrigation throughout their yards that like to water them regularly, because the sun is pretty intense and it gets really dry and hot, and so like your grass would just die. So people just dump tons of water into their yard to keep it green. I don't really have grass. My yard is all mulch, and so xeriscaped is what they call it. And my backyard is mainly dirt for a long time, but so many weeds have grown now that there's a lot of green in my backyard, just mostly weeds. So it's kind of on this like slope, and it's it's not a great like backyard space. We have like a old like wooden railroad tie retaining wall, and those things are like rotted away, so like they're falling down. There's like rebar sticking out of these things, and like it's a little bit hazardous back there.
So you send the kids outside and you're like, hey, have fun. Do whatever you want.
Go bounce on the rebar.
Back for dinner.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we like don't let them leave the patio because we're like, you'll die instantly. It's dangerous. So So we've been working on trying to clean that up. So previous years I've just used like the weed eater and just kind of hacked away all the weeds and all the things that would grow. Just like there was one year where these one type of weed would grow and it was like 5 feet tall. Like I was out there and like with it and like my wife got pictures of me and they're seriously they're like almost as tall as me. And so I'm just sitting there just like hacking through them all. So I did not let it get that bad. But we kind of cleaned up some stuff a little bit. And for the first time, I was actually able to use like a regular lawnmower. And
Nice.
it is amazing. And
Yeah.
it's an electric lawnmower actually. That
Oh yeah.
we were given. And it works really well. The downside is when the battery dies and you're not finished. It's super annoying.
That sucks.
Um,
We have an electric weed eater.
Yeah.
So Cobalt
Nice.
weed eater, which is a good segue into our sponsor, Cobalt.
They're really into board games there, you know.
Yeah,
Do the new lawn care board game coming to you, coming to targets near you.
But yeah, literally just like a day ago or something, I weeded. I had a patch of grass about this big left.
Yeah,
and it went out. It's still there. The patch is still there because I can't be bothered to go.
That's hilarious.
Finish that up.
Yeah, I got so close, but then it was also like I was doing this last section and then it was raining, and then started hailing. So like I'm out there just like finishing lawn mowing. I'm like, there's like this little section left, and then the lawnmower's just like dead, and I'm like soaked because I've been getting rained on. I'm like, all right, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
So that was annoying, but I'll get back to it. Finish it someday.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the home improvement section of this podcast.
Yeah,
you guys
interesting. I didn't know that about like it being so dry. I guess I imagine when I think of Colorado, I just think of like big mountains and
yeah, they're pretty dry
I think
though.
of it green though. I don't know. I guess yeah.
It is for like a couple months in the summer, and then everything just turns brown.
Wow.
Pretty much. Yeah, it's not very green. That's like I do miss things being green, like from the eastern coast of the United States,
Appalachian Range.
Yeah. Well, that reminded me. Oh yeah, so our climate is high desert. Like that is our technical like climate of Colorado. So
interesting. Wow.
Yeah. Which if you ever visited me in the 8 years I've lived here, you know, you would have known. So wow.
I know I'm not much of a travel person. I really don't. It's bad actually. Even the whole time my sister lived in California, I never went out there. It's because
that's a lot further trip.
It's pretty far, yeah. But it's because they always planned trips to come back here because both their families are East Coast, so it never really made sense to go out there.
It was not worth it.
Yeah, we don't like her anyways.
Yeah, I mean, it's just she's the youngest in the family. Like,
she's the youngest, the forgotten one.
Just forget about it. Oh man. Anyway, so that's some life stuff in terms of my kids. Henry is just into everything. He's running around now, but he's not like completely balanced. So he'll just like take off sprinting and
top heavy.
A little bit. He's okay balanced, but not like amazing. But my wife was out there with the kids the other day when it like had just rained and they were playing in some puddles, and one was a little bit muddy. Henry walks up to it and just kind of like is squatting down next to it and just boom, like falls face first straight into this puddle. And then just like there's a picture, he's just like mud like coming down his face. And then like later on he fell again. He's got all kinds of like scrapes and stuff on his forehead because he's just like we're like Libby was right next to him and he's still just like boom like right in front of her. But he's manages a lot of mischief. Even just like we were about to leave the house the other day and he's standing over by like he has socks on his feet, like we're gonna put his shoes on and go, and he's standing next to the dog water bowl, just kind of looks up and just like steps into the water bowl with his sock, just like straight. Just we're like, what are you doing? he like plays with those all the time and like tips him over the water, the food bowl. Like it's oh man, he's just into everything. But
There's nothing worse, I think, than a soggy sock.
I know, and he did it on purpose.
Yeah.
What kind of masochist is he?
Yeah.
It's like I love the feeling of soggy socks.
Soggy socks.
Man.
Well, before, I know it's not exactly the same thing, but my cat, before we got
she
him,
like soggy socks?
No, but before we got him, I should try it. I haven't put a soggy sock on him yet,
That's
so
fair.
I should try it, see if he likes it.
Yeah,
That's what I should do.
You won't know until you try.
Right. No, but before we got him a little dedicated stand thing for his bowls, for his like food bowl, water bowl. He would always go over there to the water one specifically and just knock it over. Just pour his water out on.
Oh man.
And he did it for attention, because every time he did it, I hear his bowls like clinking together. And I'm
gosh.
and I would totally play into it and like yell at him.
Right.
Like, no, don't do that. And then he would get his attention, and he would just keep doing that. So we had to buy him like the stand where it's impossible for him to knock it over.
Yeah.
Now, but,
oh man.
So
good times.
And it looks better too. So
yeah,
it's fun.
Yeah. So anyway, this month in a couple weeks, Magic the Gathering is releasing a new expansion for I can't think they call it extended universe or something, for Lord of the Rings, which we did talk about on the podcast that doesn't exist.
Briefly,
yeah. So they're releasing this like a Lord of the Rings expansion for Magic the Gathering. So this entire set, I guess I don't know what to call it. There's a whole set of just Lord of the Rings themed and licensed cards and everything, and it looks awesome. I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan, and so I like just want all of the cards. I actually have the old Lord of the Rings trading card game. Do you remember that game? Did you? I don't know if we ever actually like played it.
I didn't play. The most I ever did with cards was a little bit. I dabbled a little bit in Pokemon.
Okay,
that's about it.
Yeah. So anyway, I love Lord of the Rings, but Magic's releasing this new set, and like, I just think it's so crazy how I can't remember. I don't know when it started. Magic the Gathering's been around for ages.
Oh man.
Millennia. Yeah. And like they release all these new sets, and like there's so many new mechanics that they introduce in all these sets. So there's some interesting ones.
We were talking about barrier to entry. Trevor mentioned something about like harder for newcomers.
Right. Because like if you just, get cards or get like a pre-con deck, like a deck that's just been made already, there's gonna be a lot of terms on there that you don't know what they mean, because there just have been so many added over the years. And so, and even if you learn the ones that are on that one, like you could play against other people where you're like, what does that mean? Like, I need to look at this card and like it has this word on here, but I don't know what that word means. And it's like, there's so many things you have to like clarify and like learn. And so, yeah, Trevor was mentioning that it creates this big barrier to entry. My comments on this was that it's crazy the amount of mechanics they've introduced and how they keep thinking of like new mechanics that fit these different sets that they make, which both are true. It's very impressive and like interesting that they can do that, but it does create that barrier of entry like for new players where it's just there's such a learning curve to know what's happening with everything. So yeah, it's interesting that they have to add new things, because otherwise like their existing player base, which is a lot of people, falls off. And there are still like a lot of people like jumping in. Like I think Trevor and I just started playing Magic a couple of years ago, 3-4 years ago maybe. And I don't play very often, but like every once in a while we'll jump in. And I've got some friends super into it that try to get me to play like every week. And I played once in the last 7-8 months. So
I hate those kinds of situations where people are always asking you to do this one thing, and you're always like, you like never do it,
Yeah.
but you still want to be friends, kind of,
Right.
and it's just
Like eventually we'll do it and like it'll be fun, but sometimes I'm just like I'm so tired and like playing
yeah,
Magic is just a very I don't know, it just feels tiring sometimes like cuz you just have to like think and then you have to like examine what everyone else is doing and you're like strategizing, okay, what do I do next? How do I do this? And
right.
it
It's
gets
not a turn your brain off kind of game, right?
no, yeah. So like end of the day, evening gets a little rougher to do that. But
Mm-hmm.
um
Yep.
Ralph, you were also mentioning some updates about your big work project that it's good
Oh,
news, but also not good news.
double-edged sword,
Yeah.
right? Or yeah, whatever the expression is. Yeah, basically, so my original, maybe this was brought up at some point on a podcast, I'm not sure, but I have this giant project that for my job that it's the biggest project that we do completely, like out of
Mm.
everything we ever do. This is the biggest one. And but we only do it once every 2 years. So that's when we refresh it, is once every 2 years. And the thing is, this time around I'm primarily working on it. I do have a helper,
Mm.
but they're kind of newish to our team, so they're still learning the ropes, and I'm still like showing them stuff, so I'm doing the majority of the work. And the what I had originally thought was that it's due the end of the quarter, which is true, which
Okay.
is the end of this month. Um, but what I didn't realize is that my part has to be done on the 16th.
Oh no.
So that's about 2 weeks less than I was anticipating,
Sure.
which is not good. That's like, oh my gosh. So I've been working like, I mean, 10 hours a day just trying to get this thing done.
Jeez.
But so that sucks. However, it's also good because it does mean that I'll be done with it sooner. It's
Sure.
just like, okay, I'm just going to put my nose to the grindstone and freaking pound this thing out, and then but then it'll be done. It'll be over, and I can move on to something else, which
Like
is what I've
board
been dying
games.
to do. Yeah, I know. I can't wait to get these big things off my plate so that I can get to work. And I told Steven right before this, I just handed off one of my other projects, and if it goes well, like, I sent it off, and as long as it's mostly like the client's happy with it and
Yeah.
everything, then I can call that one, for all intents and purposes, done, pending like maybe a few tweaks or whatever.
Sure.
But yeah, so that'll be two things
Yeah. That's
wrapped
good.
up that'll free me up pretty good. So
Yeah, that's awesome. I've been doing this I started this pretty fun project at work just last week for one of our clients. We're creating this um immersive experience like on an app. So essentially there'll be showrooms that will have their products in there. And you can, scan it, go to the showroom to see all the different things and scan this QR code. It takes you into this like mobile not mobile, but like a web app that has this like 3D built out 3D environment and um to see all the different details of this environment, to see these different settings that you can control. I can't really say much about it, like say like what it is or anything, but it's this environment of this
I'm gonna steal the idea.
thing
That's it.
that
Yep.
yeah, well it's not, I don't care if you steal it, it's more of just like NDA stuff. I don't want to share it on here. Anyway, it'll have settings that you can adjust in this 3D environment and kind of move it around. So it's kind of lets you control that experience. And so I've been designing, our 3D team has been designing that object and environment. And then I've been working on the interface for it and kind of what like the different screens you'd go through and different things you can do. And so it's been really fun kind of thinking through how these like how the screens will all look and the different like functions and animations and all that too. So I feel like this is one of the first projects that uh, has been like fun, like exciting to work on. Like other things like web pages, designing whatever, like that's just part of what we do. But um, this one is like a cool like immersive experience with a 3D environment, where I get to design like the user interface and how it all works together. And so it'll be like a really great project. So it's something that I'm just excited to work on. Gets me into Figma more. So then, more experience in there, and just hopefully the more experience I get in general, the better our games will be. So that's random tie in there.
Oh, true. Yeah. No, that's always relevant. I mean, anytime you do a project that is related to like the skills of design or whatever, I mean, yeah, it all, you get better with everything you do, I think, and over time, that'll compound.
Did you have anything else?
That sounds really cool. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna see if you had anything else to talk about. Otherwise, I was just gonna wrap it up because.
Oh wow, our first ever actually short episode.
Yeah, it's because it's a redo, and I'm just like, I don't know what to talk about now. I feel like we already talked about everything. So.
We cover. I mean, there were a few things that we had mentioned.
We don't have to go over everything.
Yeah, we don't have to rehash absolutely everything. I don't really have much else now, so
well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks again for listening and or watching this podcast, which is a bit of board games. That's the name of our podcast. You want to rate our podcast on whatever service you listen to, that would make it be more visible to other people, as well as we have the YouTube stuff that it's on. So if you're there, like it, subscribe it, whatever. It's there. There's not much else there. Someday we want to do some more video content, which would be cool. Which I've been saying for a year now. Still someday. So anyway, also find a link to our Instagram it's on our website, but our social handle for Instagram is @BitWaffleGames, and we post some pictures of some of the artwork we're working on, and there'll be some updates on there, and also link to our Discord at bitwafflegames.com. If you have any questions or want to chat, you can go there. Thanks again for being here, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Well, thanks, everyone.
Bye.